Howdy neighbor, how is your garden growing? Me in my garden, I want to talk to you about what to plant and when to plant it in the month of October right here in the Sunshine State. So whether you live in North Florida, Central Florida, or South Florida, this is going to be the video for you. And as always, I'm going to be using my handy dandy Wild Floridian garden planner to help keep me on track. It's full of ideas of what to plant, when to plant it, along with tips and ideas. And since we're getting so close to the end of the year, you can go ahead and order next year's Wild Floridian garden planner. Shipping starts in October so that you can go ahead and start not only planting your garden this year, but next year too. Let's talk vegetables. And when it comes to the month of October, whether you live in North, Central, or South Florida, you should be focusing on cold weather crops. Cold weather crops are going to be everything from root crops like beets, radishes, carrots, root crops like beets, radishes, and carrots, to all of your brassicas like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, Brussels sprouts, and kale. And beyond even just those, you can also be growing things like spinach, strawberries, and lettuce. Cold weather crops is like, I feel like the powerhouse, like the one that a lot of people get really super excited to go and start growing. And in addition to these cold weather crops, South Florida, you can also start seed starting warm weather crops, which would be tomatoes, peppers, corn, squashes, and beans. But you may be asking yourself, what varieties should you be thinking about when it comes to seed starting? And I've gone and grabbed all my little handy dandy, well, not all, let's be real. And let's first talk about brassicas. So that's those cauliflower, broccoli, cabbages, Brussels sprouts, and kales. Those are gonna be, if you're gonna be seed starting in the month of October, when you live in North Florida and South Florida, are gonna really wanna be focusing on getting those started right away. And here's the reason. In North Florida, you are against a ticking clock of getting those seeds started, getting them grown in the ground, or in a bed, or in a grow bag. And since most of these crops take about 90 days to get a broccoli head or a cauliflower head, we need to start as early as possible in October to have the chance of finishing by the time we get our really, like, this is the polar vortex throwing everything down into the 30s in North Florida, come mid-January, late January, early February. So if we get them started first thing in October, then you have all of October, all of November, and all of December to finish the crop and hopefully get your broccoli head, your cauliflower head right at the end of the year or at the very beginning of the year. Now, South Florida, you kind of have like a totally different problem. You're not racing the cold, you're racing the heat. So the reason you want to focus on getting those brassicas started is because yes, you have October, November, and December, but on the flip side, come February, you guys are heating up so fast that oftentimes things like broccolis and cauliflowers are going to bolt on you. So for you, you're racing the heat. And Central Florida, I guess you're a little bit like Goldilocks. You're not too hot, you're not too cold, you're just right, but you still want to get things started early too. So get them started in October. You can also get away with starting them in November, but we do really want to take advantage of the month of October to really focus on seed starting those brassicas. Now, what varieties are you going to grow? When it comes to things like broccoli, the two favorite varieties that I have done and others have done are DeChico and Waltham 29s. Now, here's the cool thing. You can get these varieties from multiple companies. So companies like Barry Morris, this is a company that you find seed packets at places like Walmart and Lowe's, Target, Home Depot. All those places tend to carry Barry Morris. Plus, sometimes you can get them online. Or you go with companies like Southern Exposure. These ones, this company focuses on seeds that work for the South. And what I can tell you about this company versus others is this has a really good germination rate. And germination rate, that has to do with, if you put it down 100 seeds, how many of those are going to sprout. And they actually go ahead and print on many of their packets their germination rates. So you have a higher confidence that when you put these in the ground, because we have a limited time to get these going, that you have a better odds that they're going to sprout and get going. So look for Walthams, look for DeChicos, both are good. When it comes to cauliflower, I haven't really done cauliflower. So I asked my community, what cauliflowers do you guys recommend? And Wendy came through. She's grown them year over year. She said she's moved away from a bunch of seed companies and has simplified to a couple, but she keeps coming back to Baker Creek because of one cauliflower, and that's the Rober cauliflower. She grows these in grow bags and containers, and she says that year after year that these work really well. So I had to get myself a seed packet, and I wanted to share Wendy's fantastic tip with you guys so that you can have some great cauliflower too. Now, when it comes to things like kale, Dino kale, aka lanceolata kale, has been a really good variety that's worked for me, and it goes a lot longer in the season. So even though I'm sitting here going, hey, you got to get this done right away, that's one of the ones that I've started it later in November and December and been totally fine getting a really sizable harvest from it. And it tends to be more heat resilient. So especially my South Floridians, go ahead and get yourself some dino kale, lanceolato kale for your gardens, but it also works in places like North Florida too. Now, when it comes to, I think one of the things that people really like, which is lettuce, I'm all about the romaines. I'm all about the butter crunch lettuces. And I just usually buy the packet that says butter crunch. I do get mine from Southern Exposure, but I have done the Fairy Morris or Burpee, basically a seed package you get at the store. I've done all of those and they've all worked for me. I like to get just generally butter crunch, but when it comes to romaine, I'm all about this outrageous. Oh, this is butter crunch. Outrageous. This is a red romaine, and I like really doing the red romaines because it gives you some more of that vitamin A, right? Because green is vitamin K and reds are vitamin A. And so it gives you a way to get some more vitamin A in your typical salad. So I'm a fan of outrageous, and in the garden in a few months when you see all those heads of red lettuce, that's the one. That's the one you're seeing. Now let's talk a little bit about onions. There's a lot of onion varieties that work here, and I just out of like force of habit tend to get stuff that comes out of Texas. If it works in Texas, it's gonna work for us. That's my motto. And I tend to go with Texas Grano, or these are Texas Early Grano from Southern Exposure. But I've also gone and grabbed starts from like Home Depot and Lowe's, and I've gotten lots of different varieties, and those have also produced well. Now, I don't have a lot of good varieties for white onions and red onions because we eat a lot of yellow onions. So I just grow yellow and then more yellow. The big tip is remember, we want short day onions, not long day onions. Why? Because the days, if we started now, are getting shorter. They're not getting longer. So in order for these to be able to produce a bulb, right, the little onion part, we need to have the short day varieties. Because you may want to know about carrots, and this has been the variety I've been using probably for what, 5 years now, and I'm getting great harvests. And do not let this name deceive you. Short and sweet, if you leave them in the ground long enough, I mean, they get pretty big. It says they're only supposed to get 4-inch roots, which would be that big, but I've gotten ones that are that big. I probably leave them in the ground too long. But this one has worked year after year after year in my garden, and I highly recommend grabbing some packets. You can, I've double checked this one, get these ones online. So if you can't find it at your local store, go ahead and just pop over online, and usually like Walmart or Target is carrying them online. So get those. When it comes to beets, Detroit Reds. That's it. I've bought the Fairy Morris packets, I've bought the Burpee packets, and of course I've done the Southern Exposure packets. I get the best yields from my Southern Exposure. I just think they I don't know what they do. They got their magic at Southern Exposure, and these have worked really, really well. I had a 1 pound beet this year from this type of packet from Southern Exposure. So if you're looking for beets and beet greens, get yourself some Southern Exposure Detroit red beets, or grab them from another company. And that's just a short list of some of the varieties you could grab. I'd love to hear from you all. What are some of your favorite varieties when it comes to cool weather crops? Oh yeah, and that's one of the things, if you're always wondering, varieties I recommend not only for cold weather crops, but warm weather crops and hot weather crops too. That's one of the things I give you guys in the planner, is not only do I tell you when to grow, I also give you what I call the Florida favorite varieties. These are the ones not only have worked for me, but other Florida gardeners around the state. Now, if some of you are like, I really want to seed start, but I'm just not confident to get those cold weather crops going, never fear. I'm going to have a guide, just like I did with the warm weather crops, that's going to take you through step by step how to start. Yes, you can have your seed packets right there with your trays and your soil, and you can go along with me and get your seeds started. You know me, I'm here to help you guys succeed out here in the garden. Now let's talk warm weather crops. Especially if you've been following along with me, you've got your seed started, you did the step-by-step guide, you followed along, and then you did your up potting, right? You got them in the bigger trays, and now you're wondering, what do I do now? If you are in North and Central Florida, and we're now hitting late September and now October, it is time to go get these tomatoes, these peppers, and these eggplants into the ground. If you got them in at the end of September, but you may be like me, and we haven't done it yet because my hot weather crops are doing their thing, and we'll touch on hot weather crops in a minute. But if you haven't gotten them in the ground, this is the time to get them in the ground. If you're waiting for hot weather crops to finish, you may, if you have smaller trays like these, and you're in my kind of case, you may need to go and up pot them one more time into a larger container until the beds are freed up from your sweet potatoes, roselles, okras, and hot peppers. And for my South Floridians, you may be thinking to yourself, but I have to get warm weather crops started and cold weather crops started. Well, I already have a video for you guys for tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, corn, squash, and beans for you to get your seed started. So you can go and check out my video. That's the step-by-step guide for the fall season for getting your seed started. Or I guess it was late summer. But there's a step-by-step guide to take you through all that. Now, my North and Central Floridas are probably gasping right now, what if I didn't get my seed started and I still want to grow tomatoes, I still want to grow peppers and eggplants and all the good things? Well, let me tell you, it's okay. There's always a way. So it would be great for you just to pick up transplants. That's right, just go buy some plants. And if you're wondering what you should buy, and we're at the store, let me show you some of the warm weather crops varieties that you should consider picking out. Plus, let's see if they have any cold weather crops here too. Speaking varieties, grape tomatoes have worked really well from Bonnie. Ooh, they have Cherokee purple tomatoes. That would be a good buy. Haven't grown those before. More cherry tomatoes, that would be a good buy. Let's see what else we got. Lots of cherry tomatoes right now. If you're in containers, patio. Ooh, Roma. That would also be a really good choice. Grape tomatoes. So you got grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. You got, if it's small, there you go. Now on the bigger side, you could try something like Better Boy. Yes, I think that's it kind of for the tomatoes. And let me give you a couple things to be looking for when you're picking out your plant. One, the smaller the better. So like these guys, those are a nice size, right? For the size container, this is what? You can see that there are some roots coming out the bottom, but the plant's relatively small. We're kind of in that 6-inch range. That's a good buy. And since they're only about $5, I would consider buying something in that size. What gets me worried is these ones that are getting, you see how tall this is? This is like what? It's 12 to 18 inches. We do have roots coming out of the bottom, but the longer they are, the harder they're having a time getting nutrition. So they're probably a little bit more stressed out. Look at how happy these leaves are. See how bright green, and then we've got some dark green. This looks really happy. This looks really happy. This looks okay, but they can rebound, no problem. These, look at the color difference. These look a bit more stressed. You can see more color changes on the leaves, and yes, at the bottom leaves, but also look at these upper leaves. So the more you can stay away from stuff like that. Also, again, really tall for the size container. These ones that are in that $10 range, this starts to get on the edge of like, I would consider it a good buy. But if there's a variety that you think, oh, that would work really well for me, and it's $10 or less, I say go for it. Okay, let's check out peppers. We have a bunch of different peppers. So jalapenos, those have been a good buy in the past. Hot bananas, those have been a good buy. Best buy, sweet bananas, and for $5, this is definitely something I would consider purchasing. Bell peppers, I'm really on the fence on these ones. Then Gloria, one of the fabulous members of the Wild Floridian community, she mentioned that she was able to get a lot of harvest out of these exact ones by putting them in a semi-shade location. And that made all the sense in the world to me. So these could be a good buy. I wouldn't buy them in these $10 pots. I'd go for the $5 pots. And if you look right below, right, this is what most likely people are gonna buy because it's at eye level. Hey, get down lower. And it's the same plant, smaller, and you can see these are shorter. These look really good. Some roots on the bottom. Again, here's what you're looking for. We wanna be in that 6 to 8 inch range when we're buying a plant like this. Dark green leaves, bright. All these look really nice and healthy. These would all be good ones. I know some people had some really good luck with habaneros. Others have had really good luck with serranos. These ones in the back, that's the other thing. I also, a lot of times will grab the plant in the back because look at this one up front. Less good, better. But I did want to show you the other side because I told you some of these big box stores, they're getting wise and they're listening, and they've got some better, they've got some of the things that you should consider this month. And here we go. They already have romaine trays out, $6 for a 6 cell. These are a little on the leggy side, but these are totally worth doing. If you are in the month of October in North and Central Florida, even maybe South Florida, depending on the time of month, grab this. This is a good return on investment. $1 per plant, you're gonna get your money back really fast. And I've done the romaine lettuce before. I've done the butter crunches before. I've done the red romaines before. So all of these, if I were gonna pick from these trays, I'm going for these ones. I know they're smaller, but actually that's better because these ones are a little bit leggy, but that's okay. Once you chop them and eat them, this is great. This is a great purchase, and the fact that they already have these out, they're listening. The other thing, what else do they got? Strawberries. They already have Strawberries out. Let's see what type we got here. Are these the Quinaults? Typically these are either Quinault or the Albion. They're the Everbearing. Don't see any other variety information, but these can be worth the buy, especially at this time of year, because this is the right time for strawberries. So if you can't get to a local grower or get one of those specialty varieties, this is still, you're gonna get a good amount of strawberries for these by getting them in at the right time. And all these look really nice and healthy. Look at those dark green leaves. We like the way these are looking. Oh, here's the sweet berry ones. I tried these ones just because the flowers were different color. They did okay. The strawberries are a lot smaller, but they do have that fun, they do have a fun pink flower. So if you're just looking for something fun, consider doing that one, but it's not as good for production as some of the other ones. We also have some Black Beauty eggplant. This one does work well. These are on the big side for transplanting for this size container. I would kind of get worried. Like, look at can you guys see that? Roots on the top. So something to watch out for. But Black Beauty isn't a bad. It doesn't do as well as some other varieties, but it still does work here in Florida. So if you want to get and jump back into like the eggplants because you missed out on the seed starting, go ahead and grab that. Just look for ones where the plant is smaller. Like I would go with this one down here. Oh, they've got some squashes. I haven't grown this variety. If anyone's grown one of these varieties, let me know. But I have gotten cucumbers from Home Depot, Lowe's before, and they have worked. So these are some options. Also, look, they got some curly kales out. Ooh, that's a perfect size. That would be the size that's worth it. And they're probably a $6 6L, worth it. I would spend the $6 there. First off, you guys know I'm really big supporter of local nurseries. I show you guys this because I know these are things that are all around the state that a lot of you guys can access. But here's the thing, if you go to your Home Depot, Lowe's, or even your local nursery and they don't have the variety you like, look and see if they have a catalog, or ask them, and then ask them if they can order some of the plants for you, because that is an option at times. Each store, even Home Depot and Lowe's, orders things differently. So even if I go just to the other closest Lowe's or Home Depot, they'll have different plants a lot of times, and that comes down to the buying managers. So consider asking for some of the varieties that you are interested in, and a lot of times they'll order them because if you're interested, there's other people interested. Let's see, herbs. Oh, we've got some herbs. Kind of leftovers, but oh, parsley, that would be a good buy. And basil at this time of year would be a good buy. You can kind of see that they're starting to, as we're heading into October, they're starting to flip everything over from the summer crops. They did not have this a few weeks ago. So do be patient with yours. Ask the people who work there if you're going to be getting more crops, or just go to a different store. But basils would be a good buy at this time of year. Look at those. Those look so happy, so happy. Thai basils, oreganos, they like it a little shadier. Pineapple sage. Ooh, oh, just regular garden sage. I love the smell of garden sage. So yummy. Spearmint, all these would be good purchases at this time of year. So consider adding these in along with your vegetables. So while I'm a big fan of seed starting, and I think everyone should work their way towards that, I do recognize everyone's on different parts of the journey, and some of you all just need to go ahead and buy a plant, and that will be a better fit for you as you get your garden going. And then down the road, you learn how to seed start. Now, if you don't want to go to a Home Depot or Lowe's, you can also consider going to your local nurseries. It's a little bit trickier for me to show you what's at your local nursery because there's so many local nurseries, but keep an eye out for those same tips that I showed you at the Lowe's for things that look healthy, varieties, because one way or the other, we're gonna get these crops into the ground. Now, if you're wondering which would be best, should I do raised beds, grow bags, in the ground? I'll give you kind of my short answer. One, if you are new and you don't really know your garden very well, my suggestion to you is go with something like a grow bag or a container you can move around. Learning your son, learning how your garden works, it takes a little bit of time. And so the easiest way to learn it is by being able to move things around. And these things, while I love them, they don't move very easily. So if it's your first season getting going, I would suggest get some large pots. If you're gonna get large bags, you wanna be in kind of that 7-gallon, 10-gallon or bigger. And you want them to be, especially for warm weather crops, at least 18 inches deep, because tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, all of them, they have pretty deep root systems and they need at least a foot in the ground. So getting something that's about 17 to 18 inches deep will be beneficial for them to have a healthy root system. Now, if you have learned your garden, you may need to consider, do you want to do in-ground or raised beds? And I've done it both ways. The challenge I had with in-ground, which I'm totally for it, because it's actually one of the most cost-effective ways to do it, is that it was a lot harder to control weeds and critters in my beds. But if it's your first season, it's kind of one of the easiest ways to go. It's just like rip out the grass and get going. The watch out is if you had a lot of herbicides and insecticides sprayed into your garden or into your grass, that can lead to some challenges in your first year of the garden. I've also had that problem too. You can check out some of my past videos. You can see everything from when I first did in-ground beds throughout the years, putting cattle panel trellises, when I first built these. It's all on the channel, so you can always see my journey over time. But my recommendation is start small when you begin, start economical when you begin, and then work your way up to stuff like this. But if these are cute and you really like them and you just want to get some nice, cute raised garden beds, you can go ahead and check out this link or this link or this link or this link. The beds I use are VEGEGA. You can use my discount code WILDFLORIDIAN for 10% off. Okay, other things, if you already have grow bags and beds, the other things you need to think about is topping off your beds because they dropped. You had soil drop, and that's totally normal. There's nothing unusual about that here in Florida. 1, your plants use something. 2, it rained a lot. And 3, it kind of just washed through. That's one of the benefits of sandy soil is the rain washes through a lot, but the bad part about it is it takes a bunch of stuff with it. So you will need to add soil to the top of your beds. And then if you've used, and then you want to go and amend it. So you want to amend it with compost or a fertilizer. If you want something simple and easy to get you started on the path of fertilizing, I just use a shaken feed, which there's probably a link right here or here. And I just sprinkle that on top to get us going. That's kind of the simplest way to go, but compost is one of the most organic friendly ways, but sometimes that's a little bit harder to access or for you to create yourself. I do both. I do it all. I don't do it all. All right, let's talk about our hot weather crops because we got to get these done. Let's talk cranberry hibiscuses. This is kind of one of the easiest ones because you've been harvesting all along, leaves, drying them out, adding them to teas. I mean, it's kind of one of those, if it's not in the way, you can let it keep going until it dies back with the cold snaps. Yeah, that's basically it. It's kind of one of those easy ones. This one's also a really cool one for this time of year if you want to make some, I know this is more vegetables, but like if you want to make some cute bouquets, some kind of fall interest bouquets. That's just fall. I know we don't have leaves really turn color in any time in the fall for us, but if you wanted to pretend, make yourself some tea, dry the leaves out, but also take some cuttings and add it to a vase. Me, I'm gonna be leaving this in until I take these roselles out, and actually I'm gonna try transplanting this and moving it into a flower garden. Some of you are probably still having roselles that look like this. There are no buds, there is no nothing on the stems, and if you are still at this point and you need this space for your tomatoes, your peppers, you're gonna have to pick a date, and then it's gonna be, the choice has to be made. Are they staying or they're going? The whole bed is in that decision making because they haven't produced anything. They're all just hanging out, not doing anything. So the timeline is that if they haven't produced anything, if tomorrow they did, you would first see buds for about a week. Then you will get a flower. The flower lasts only about a day. And then it's about another week for these calyxes. You see these ones right here. These have all budded, and to harvest. Now is the tipping point, right? Is that, do you need this bed 2 weeks from now? Or can you go 4 weeks from now from when you need to free up the space? If this isn't a place that's away from everything else, let it keep going, right? Because what does it matter? If it's like in like a landscaping bed or something, we'll leave it. But if it's in the place where you need to put tomatoes and peppers and eggplants, you got to decide what's a bigger priority, finishing this or getting the other crop going. The question is that if today you have no buds, can you wait 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks until you got to get the other stuff in the ground? That's what I'm doing right now, is that I'm at the point where these are going to take probably 1 more week to finish with the majority of their buds. I'll do my harvest, perfect timing with those tomatoes. But because I have to wait another week, and those tomatoes, I don't think they're going to be happy if I wait another week, 2 weeks max. I got to up pot them. So you may do that to extend your time, just get stuff in bigger and bigger pots until you're ready to finish these. But if you got nothing and it's the beginning of October still, you got to make the call. Okay, my beans. Beans are good for your heart. The more you eat them, the more you have a healthy digestive system. So your beans usually take about a week to turn around from being these little stringy green things. They look like this, and they go like this. So we're also at the point of like, how much more do you need? How much more do you want? And is this a higher priority crop? And for me, these got a week, 2 weeks, because this is also one of the places where my tomatoes are going. They got a week or 2 weeks, and then we're all going bye-bye by the time we hit the beginning of October. and everything's gonna go. Now with your bean plants, remember they are a nitrogen fixer, so this is a natural way that's amending your soil. So the other thing I'm gonna do is, because we have so much greenery, and this is a very, what we call herbaceous greenery. So herbaceous means high water content, high nitrogen content. So I can go ahead and throw it down on the bed and let it break down and be its own natural. I already did some, you can see some of the old vines there, to help amend the soil and also suppress out some weeds as I transition in to putting crops in these beds. So that's what your beans are doing. And these of course are hot weather beans. These are your yard long beans, not the fall warm weather beans that you should be considering. Hey, you guys remember those banana peppers I said that were worth it from the store? Here you go. Here's what they look like. These are now, how many feet tall? 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall now? Yeah, that's how they can be. And there's so many bananas. And I just pruned them too, because there's so much. Banana peppers for the win. Okay, other tips and things you need to know for the month of October. Flowers. You need flowers. If you're going to grow tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, squashes, beans, all those warm weather crops, you need to get flowers that the bees like. Going and picking up some tomatoes from the store, also make sure you're getting a plant that bees actually like. This one they like. This is Gaillardia. You can pick this up at the Home Depot and Lowe's oftentimes. Behind it, that's Salvia. You can usually pick that one up at the Home Depot, Lowe's also. That's Coreopsis. You can also pick that one up there. These flowers are here very intentionally to make the bees happy. They also make me happy, but they make the bees happy. And if you're not sure which type of plant to get, I have a video that every single month shows you flowers that you could get at the store and bring to your house. But also, just look where you see bees. If you see bees at the store, the bees will probably come to your house too. I mean, do watch out. The bees, you don't want to take the bees in your car. Other bee magnets that you should consider, especially if you go with native, go with a firebush. These bee magnets. You may say now, Jacqueline, I don't see bees all over it. Also, I have a firebush and I don't see bees all over it. Something to think about, if you have a pollinator powerhouse plant, which firebush is one of them, and one of the ones on the list of the Florida favorites that's in the planner, I would tell you, one, bees only hang out on plants at certain times of day. When the sun hits them and the nectar heats up, that's when they're like all over this thing. Same thing, I actually watch as bees and butterflies rotate between plants throughout the day, because this is my hobby. And I will tell you, it usually is about, in this area, about 10 a.m. that they start hitting these plants. In other parts of the garden, it's other times of day as the nectar starts to, and the pollen, and they just, apparently, some of the bugs taste through their feet. This is a fun fact my child told me. So, hooray. But they do move between plants. Second, if you said, I checked all throughout the day, I never see bees. Here is a thing to look out for. If you have a company that comes and treats and fertilizes, oftentimes they're spraying herbicides and insecticide. A lot of your companies who are making your lawns keep really cute, if they're also helping keep your landscaping cute, not only are they spraying fertilizers and putting granular fertilizers down and spraying fungicides down, they're often spraying insecticides, which is killing your bees. That's the short answer. So something to do in the month of October is ask your lawn care, landscaping, pest control companies, what are you spraying? Are any of them an insecticide, and what insects? And some of them are gonna tell you they're safe for butterflies. Lots of people in the butterfly community can tell you, not really. They're not really. So if you want bees and you've put in the right type of plants, and it's the right time of day for them to be hanging out in those plants, just know that someone could be spraying a chemical right now that's killing off your bees. I'm gonna show you a couple other plants that are pollinator powerhouses, because you really do need this coming into October, November, in order to get really good harvests. If you want your firebush to get really big, there's Mr. Cliff's. His is huge. And he propagated these are goldenrods, and I know some of you have been asking, when are they gonna bloom? They should be blooming in September or October. Oftentimes they bloom up at the top, but if you see them like this and they're starting to fall, they actually also bloom right here. And I tell you this because this is another one of those pollinator powerhouse plants. So what goldenrods, if you guys have been waiting for your goldenrod to bloom, is they'll start to lean, and then you see there's more buds along the stalk. You can see them growing all along here. These are about to have little tiny stalks, and all of that is going to bloom, hence the name goldenrod. And that is a massive bee magnet. Actually, some beekeepers in other countries use our native goldenrods in order to help give lots of pollen to the bees. Other Florida friendly plants that attract bees, pentas, you can usually pick those up at the store. Another Florida native that's kind of in the cottage garden style. This is gray leaf tea bush. This is a huge bee magnet. I'm at the end of the day, so they've all gone to sleep. Another one that they like is going to be, oh, there's native petunias, but those are all closed up, is our starry rosinweed and salt and pepper plants. Another friendly reminder is that October is the transition into drought season. And so you need to be paying attention to the watering in your garden, especially if you have one of those automatic smart systems. Why? Because it thinks it's gonna rain, it's not gonna rain, it thinks it's gonna rain, it rains over there, but it doesn't rain over here, and all of a sudden your garden hasn't gotten any water for weeks. So you will want to be paying attention as we go through this time period to make sure your garden is getting the right kind of frequency. When it comes to your vegetable garden, 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how long they run, you're looking for about a ½ an inch twice a week is what I do for my garden. The more organic matter you have in your soil, the less often you have to do it, but twice a week, ½ an inch. So about an inch a week cumulatively, but you do want to spread it out a little bit. Another tip for when you start all your cold weather crops is that the sun intensity is still strong, so you will not want to put them in direct full all day sun up to sundown sun, because it'll be too intense for them. Okay, one more tip. I checked my notes, and that is to remember that October, while it's a huge transition time period for your garden from going from these long-lasting hot weather crops to warm weather crops and cold weather crops, it is also the beginning of the holiday season, and it is very, very easy to get distracted. So make sure that when you're doing your garden is that you are prioritizing and planning what needs to get done so that you can streamline and be efficient. I'm all about efficiency. So make sure you make a plan, you track your plan, and if you want to do that, of course, use the Wild Floridian Garden Planner. You can get the digital copy for this year and get your copy for next year. And if you want just even more tips on October and perennial plants, fruiting trees, herbs that you could do in the month of October, check out this video right here. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.